Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you are constantly thinking about the finish line, about the destination, the outcome, the results, that you are willing to do whatever it takes to get to the end? And the thought of it gives you so much excitement because you have an expectation that when I get to the other side, I'll be the happiest person on earth, or I will be relieved, or my problems will be resolved. Have you ever been in a situation like that? I have certainly been in that kind of situation, and the end was not what I expected. It was actually the opposite. And today we are going to focus on that. So please stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to our series, My PhD Journey Unfiltered, a series where we are diving deep into my experiences, the lessons that I learned during the course of my PhD, the mistakes that I've made, and literally everything that has to do with my PhD experience. I hope you guys have been enjoying the previous episodes, and yeah, let's get into today's episode. Obviously, in any journey that one embarks on, you look forward to the finish line, right? You start something with the hope that you will finish it, and there's an expectation attached to that. With me, the expectation was when I get to the other side, when I submit my thesis, oh honey, I'll be the happiest person on earth. And I even had a plan. My plan was to compile a dance move after submitting, right? So I was going to dance, and the reason was to celebrate the milestone, to celebrate the achievement. Listen, I was so ready. Guys, I couldn't wait for that day. Oh, Bona, I was ready. But I remember as I was working hard, the year was 2024, I was working very hard, writing up my thesis, submitting chapters to my supervisors, receiving feedback, crying because the feedback was too much and it felt like a personal attack, and then constantly having to remind myself that, girl, it's not a personal attack. These people are just trying to guide you so that your thesis can be better and better and better. So I went through that process of that back and forth process between my supervisor and myself, writing, working on corrections, up until the final phase of the writing period, where now we have the whole compilation. All the chapters are compiled into a thesis, and we are ready to submit. Hey! But you can only imagine the amount of pressure that one has to go through as you are working towards the finish line. It intensifies because there's a deadline that has been set. Well, at least in my case, there was a deadline that we need to submit by this date. I think for me it was the 11th of July, if I'm not mistaken, and we were all working towards that deadline. Working hard, sleeping late, waking up early, going to the library, spending a lot of hours in the library, just working so hard, doing my best to ensure that the deadline is met. And the day finally came. When the day came, I did not feel ready. I felt like my thesis was not good enough to be submitted. I felt like there were still so many things that I could work on to make it better and improve it. I also felt like there were a lot of mistakes. So my wish at that time was, if only I had one more week, just so I can have time to look at it once again and make sure that everything is perfect. But unfortunately, there was no time. I had to submit. Okay, long story short, I put everything together, all the forms that were required by UCT and University of Potsdam. Everything was completed and ready for submission. Ding, 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 ding. I clicked submit, submitted a copy of my thesis to UCT and another copy to Uni Potsdam in Germany. Sharp. And now the expectation, remember, I'm expecting to feel excited for yoga. Finally, I am done. And I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this moment for a long time and it has finally come. Hey, when? To my surprise, to my disappointment, I felt numb. Zero feelings. No feelings of excitement, no feelings of sadness. I was just numb. I don't even know how to best describe the feeling, but I felt so numb that I even went to YouTube to search, is it normal for a PhD student to feel numb after submitting their thesis? Am I not supposed to be feeling excited? Am I not supposed to be feeling joyous because I have accomplished something that I've been working so hard towards? What do you mean I'm just feeling numb? And as I was doing my search, I think I also read some blogs. I came across one blog where someone was saying that, oh yeah, I remember not feeling anything after submitting my thesis, and it went on for a long time and I was confused. I didn't know if this was normal. And I was like, oh, okay, so that means people do experience this. It's normal in a way. I don't know if everyone who has been in this journey also experienced the same thing, but for me it was so strange because I'd never experienced it before. When I submitted my master's, oh man, I was so happy, I was so excited. But this one, it was a foreign feeling and I didn't know how to process it. So as I continued with my search, I got to learn over time that they call it post-achievement depression. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's what I'm going through. I'm going through a post-achievement depression. Interesting. And it went on for, I don't know how long, maybe a couple of weeks to a month, where it hadn't really sunk in that I had submitted my thesis. I didn't feel excited. Of course, I must say that there was a sense of relief that, oh, finally the pressure is off my shoulders. However, the excitement had not kicked in. What happened instead was that I was now worried about the thesis. And the reason why I was worried was because, number one, I felt like it was not perfect. Also, I had seen some obvious mistakes after submitting my thesis. There were missing page numbers, and these are things that I did not see when I was busy working on my thesis towards the final stages. And that makes sense because I was under a lot of pressure, right? So simple things like that, like page numbers, I did not see them. And I just submitted the thesis as it was. So I was worried that the examiners were going to fail me, because who does that really? I thought they would think that I'm not serious about my work, I'm careless, and I don't deserve to have a PhD. So that really made me to stress a lot about the possibility of failing and shame. People tried to comfort me to say, but no, your supervisors wouldn't have allowed you to submit if your thesis was not good enough. But over time, I kind of relaxed and trusted God with the entire thing, because it was honestly now out of my control. There was nothing I could do to change it. It was gone. It had gone to overseas because my examiners were in different countries abroad. So there was nothing I could do. Whether I worry or stress about it, it was not gonna do me any good, unfortunately. One other thing that I need to mention is that I was in a floating season after the submission of my PhD. So basically, I thought that I would snap back into my routine before the pressure intensified and just carry on with life as normal. But that was not the case. I floated for probably a month or two, just waking up and not really knowing what to do. Guys, I can't explain this feeling. You would have to experience it yourself to understand what actually went down. But it was such a strange feeling. I honestly felt like I was in a cave, a dark cave, for a long time, and then suddenly I was allowed to go outside into the world, and I was confused. What's happening? Trying to find myself, trying to understand what's happening, trying to reconnect with people. It was such a strange season. Like I said, I thought I would snap back into my routine, but I didn't. I couldn't get myself to do it. I was just empty. There was a void in me, and I just didn't know what to do. But over time, then slowly, I started going back at it. Hanyane, till I got to a point where I recognized myself again. Yes, actually, that's what it was also. I felt like I couldn't recognize myself anymore because of that cave experience. I felt like I couldn't recognize myself anymore. So it really took time for me to get back to the swing of things. A very strange feeling. Yeah. But I think it was also caused by that intense pressure. When the pressure suddenly went down, maybe the body was still trying to process everything, and it needed time to do so. I don't know. I guess the psychologists can better explain this whole concept, but I think it's a thing, hey? It really is a thing. So yeah, that's what happened. The post-achievement depression is real. And I just want to know, maybe, has any of you ever experienced that? About anything? Maybe you've gone through a journey and you were so looking forward to the end, but then when you got there, the reality was different. Please do share, so that I don't feel like I am the only strange one here. Please feel free to share as well. So yeah, that's basically what happened. And this experience taught me a valuable lesson about life and destinations, because oftentimes we focus so much on the destination, fixing our eyes on the outcome, the end goal, that everything else doesn't matter. The actual process doesn't matter, because we cannot wait to get to the finish line, only to get disappointed when we get there. You see? Imagine you run a 42-kilometer marathon. From kilometer 1, 2, 3, 4 up until 42, you did not enjoy anything. There were people cheering you on as you're running, people giving you bananas, people giving you water, people dancing just so they can lift up your mood and encourage you to keep on going. But you were not present at all. You were not smiling, greeting people. You were just thinking about the finish line. And of course, I'm not saying don't focus on the finish line. That is very important. But while we are focusing on the end goal, it's also equally important for us to enjoy the process so that it becomes a rich experience. You don't just come and say, oh, this is what I started and I accomplished it. But what did you learn in between? What did you learn in between these 2 points? Did you learn anything? Did you become anything in the process? Did you grow? Was there transformation? Did you meet people who impacted you in a certain way? So it's very, very important for us to learn to be in the moment, learn to be in the present moment, enjoy, be part of the process, immerse ourselves in the process, and not just focus on the finish line, because it can be disappointing. And unfortunately, you can't go back and say, oh, okay, now that I know how it feels like to be at the end, let me go back and try to maximize. It's too late. Unfortunately, you can't do that. So for me, that was the biggest lesson that I learned from this experience, to say, oh wow, we always glorify the destination, we always glorify the achievement, but the real joy comes from the process. And for me, I can testify from my PhD experience. Like I've mentioned before, it was a beautiful experience. With all its ups and downs, it was beautiful. So even when I got to the finish line, I was disappointed. I was still, later on when I reflected, I was still very grateful for the journey, the process that refined me and developed me into this person that I am today. I guess the message from this week's episode is to, yes, fix your eyes on the goal, but don't forget to enjoy the process. Don't forget to be present. Be in the present moment. Extract as many lessons as you can. Have fun, laugh, cry during the process, so that even when you get to the finish line and it's not as exciting, as glamorous as you would have loved or you would have hoped for it to be, then it's still fine, because the journey was worth it. Alrighty, that's all that I had for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and give this video a huge thumbs up. Thank you guys. I shall see you next week. Cheers.